of human rights. Now look at the example of Rwanda. The Rwandan people, there was a genocide going on over there between the Hutsis and the Tutsis. And the Tutsis and the Hutus. And millions of people were horribly slaughtered. The United States, the UN, and many other nations knew what was going on, but they failed to assist. They decided to follow what my opponent stated and only protect their own citizens. And millions of people's human rights were violated. Millions of people were slaughtered. So, my opponent's side of the resolution, only assisting citizens of a nation, did not end up helping human rights. It did not end up reaching the value of human rights. If they had realized their moral obligation to assist the Rwandan people, to assist nations in need, those human rights would have been protected. Those human rights would have been saved. So we can see that he does not actually reach his value of human rights. Moving on to his first contention, he talked about how governments only protect their citizens. He talked about, well, an insurance company has a contract only to its own members, and a government has a social contract only to its own people. However, I'd like to see that, firstly, a social contract is not a moral obligation, it's a legal obligation. It's an obligation the government has within the law, it's a legal obligation. But we're today talking about morality, we're talking about moral obligations. And although the government may have a legal obligation to follow the social contract, their moral obligation is to protect human rights, not for their own people, but as I stated, to protect and defend human rights in all of their interactions with other nations. If they wish to follow their moral obligation, they must protect human rights by assisting other nations. Now moving on to his next contention, he talked about stealing. He said taxes are only for the citizens, and that it's actually stealing to take them from other people. However, as he agreed in cross-examination, there's a difference between the government and the governed. For instance, it would be wrong for me to steal my opponent's money, to go to his bank and steal the money that he owned. That is called stealing. But for a government to take money from its citizens is not stealing. It's taking taxes. In the same way, the government can take a criminal and lock him up. That is justice. But for a person to lock a criminal up is called kidnapping. The government is able to do things which people are not. And so the government is not stealing when it takes taxes. And he said, well, the taxes are only for the use of the people, and it can only be used in their interest. But I'd like to read a quote from the United States Congress Foreign Assistance Act of 1961, in which we can see that assistance actually is in the interest of the people. Quote, the Congress declares that the individual liberties, economic prosperity, and security of the people of the United States are best sustained and enhanced in a community of nations which respect civil and economic rights and freedoms, and which work together to use the world's resources in an open and equitable system. The Congress reaffirms the traditional humanitarian ideals of the American people and renews its commitment to assist people in countries to eliminate hunger, poverty, illness, and ignorance. Congress is stating here that it's actually in the interest of the people. It protects their liberties, prosperity, and security when we assist other nations. When we assist other nations in need. So we can see that even if it was stealing for them to work against the interests of the people, it's not, because assisting other nations is in the interest of the people. And I'd like to briefly address the involuntary servitude he mentioned. He said soldiers are signing up only to protect America. However, this isn't really true, because soldiers are signing up, when they sign the contract, they're willing, they're going to be sent anywhere the government sends them. And they know that when they read the contract they sign. And that is not involuntary servitude. They know what they're getting into before they sign that paper that makes them a soldier in America. And so, for all these reasons, I strongly urge an affirmative ballot at the end of this debate round. Thank you.